So we kind of talked about, we have COVID conspiracies, which actually, I don't even know how that snowballed into airplanes and airplane travel, but I 100% agree with you. Under 8 to 10 hours, definitely drive.
Yeah.
Backpack,
It's all you
best
need.
way to go. Best way to go.
All
And then,
you need.
you know, now they have those services where if you do have to travel with stuff, you can just ship it to your destination.
Yeah, and it's probably going to be
way easier.
That way you don't have to wait and do all that crap at the airport.
Or take the chance of getting it lost.
Oh, I had that happen one time to me.
Did you get it back?
Yeah, but it
Like
wasn't
2 weeks later.
it wasn't even that I really minded. The only thing I was pissed off about is I had to go to the store and buy more beard stuff that on an off brand that I didn't really know. That was the only thing that bothered me about the whole situation.
Speaking of beards.
Yeah, it's coming in nice.
I know. I was like, hey, wait, so I've got 3 months into it now?
You start combing that thing.
I do comb it now. I'm combing it down. And then what I kind of like is I can do the out. So I get it to like poof and go in that direction.
If you really want to get crazy with it, you get one of the little thin combs and you pick it while you're blow drying it, and it'll just afro on you.
Dude, you've got more techniques than I even know about.
Like, look, I've had this for a minute now. This is not my first barbecue.
So I started doing the posts, right, for our social media people out there. So, you know, you can post things. So I took one. I was like, oh, wow, the beard's coming in nicely, because I was watching the first episode. We talked about beards. And I'm like, okay, so now I'll put the beard out there. But I think I got a good, like, 2 inches now.
Yeah, you're good. You're going good.
Yeah. So
you're going to get to the point where pretty soon where you're going to need to start trimming the sides.
Oh, don't worry. I've started waking up and I'm like chewing on stuff.
Oh.
I got hair in my mouth.
Wait until you wake up and the bottom of your beard is across your entire face. And you're like, you're dreaming that you can't really breathe all that well. And you're like, what's going on? And then you wake up and you're like, oh, shit.
You're suffocating on your own beard.
Yeah, that's when I know it's time for me to trim mine.
Oh, dude. Well, I gotta say, I'm kind of, I was thinking we could do an episode, because I had this theory that I might shave it. And then I was like,
why?
Well, then I had this theory, right? And I was like, why? This is kind of cool.
Yeah.
You go in the mirror, like, oh, cool. And
you want to know why men grow beards?
Why do men grow beards, Jake?
Because we can.
Ha ha! Ding, 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 winner. There was a comment in the crowd. Not all of us can. Very cool. I mean, there are some dudes that cannot grow beards. I get it.
Just let it grow.
I think over time, like, if you don't, like, I could never get on one side, it would never get as puffy. But as I let it grow, there's a lot of patience. This is why I think that women should really be interested in men who grow beards, because there's a lot of patience and care that goes into it. It's not just oh yeah.
But I know if I just stick with it, that this is going to come out to majestic.
You know, that's like a key to life.
Yeah.
Stick with it.
Yeah.
Stick with it. I agree with you. Stick with it. And that's like a rule of thumb for almost everything, right?
Yeah.
Like Michael Phelps. If he didn't stick with it, he wouldn't be the gold champion.
Right. I mean,
pretty much any of these guys.
It's any of them.
Any of them. They stuck to it.
If you just start shaving, then
there you go, America. That's the plan. Stick to it.
Exactly.
All right, so let's go into our next topic. So I watched the Epstein Files, or wherever the Netflix documentary Epstein. And
he's an interesting fella.
Jesus Christ. Like, okay, first of all, I get it. You're a rich billionaire. You get a bunch of hookers. Cool. All right, do your thing.
But why can't you just stick with the legal age hookers? Is my question.
Like, yeah, I mean, geez, man.
Like, why did you have to go down that road?
And this goes back to, you know, being dads that raised girls.
Yeah.
I mean, like, literally, if you know, it's honestly, it's painful to think.
It's
especially when you're a 50, 60-year-old dude. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Come the fuck on.
I have zero tolerance.
I'm surprised that, you know, more and more, like, you think about this, like, why didn't any of these dads go after? And then I get it, because in the video it shows he preyed on pretty much a lot of the people that didn't have, or the kids, or the younger girls that didn't have that support system.
But still, it's as a man, you know the difference, right?
Yes, absolutely.
As a man. And the older you get, the more that is. Let me explain myself here. When you're 18, a 17-year-old girl, okay, that makes sense, right?
Yes, listen, you're in that same
right. You're in that kind
age.
of mentality. When you're 25, 17 is not so bueno.
No, because you know that's
right.
You're going to get in trouble, and
right. And then when you are 40, dropping down to 15, or 50, dropping down to 15,
that's where you need to be castrated.
Like, yes, I don't. I have a very difficult time with that. It's
honestly mind-blowing that it went away. Like, listen, if you watch the Epstein stuff on TV, watch this Netflix thing.
It disappears.
And it is, and you're a billionaire, and all of a sudden, like, now you got the federal government, which you can go into the conspiracy theories here, which I would love to talk about. And I only want to talk about one specific thing, which is Bill Clinton, right? Bill Clinton was Epstein's buddy. They were buddies. They were...
Monica.
Yeah. And... Well, there you go, right? When there's smoke, there's fire. Now you've got Monica. Now you add Epstein to it. And then when all of this time frame stuff was going down, guess who was in political power?
Yeah.
All right. And the Bill Clinton comment, they have, I've never been to the island. They pulled the flight logs from the plane as passengers.
Showed
26 times.
Yeah.
26 times. And listen, I know you guys have common sense out there listening, but when you smell bullshit, it is bullshit. And then I went into further, looking at this thing. Oh, Epstein all of a sudden died, and everybody said, like, the coroner and all these people, like, it's almost impossible how his jaw was broken or his neck and the fractures.
Who cares?
Well, here's the part that you care about, right? So they're saying he committed suicide, but the coroner said, listen, the way that this is broken is like 1 in a million, and this is not happening from someone leaning on their thing and choking out. It was like somebody's behind that guy, stepping on his back, choking the shit out. Oh, and all the cameras are off at that time, accidentally.
Well, just tell everyone, look, someone strangled him.
Yeah.
Call it a day.
That'd be a better story.
You know what I mean?
That'd be a better story.
Well, here's the deal. Someone went in, shut off all the cameras, and they strangled him.
Yep. But you know why they strangled him? Because of his guest list.
Well, yeah. All of a sudden, it was going to come out that, boom, 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 boom. All these people have gone to Pervert Island.
Have you seen it yet?
No, I haven't watched.
You're gonna have to watch it because, listen, there's a lot of sad stuff in there, and you almost want to turn it off. It's like the Michael Jackson story, where it's like, dude, I don't want to listen to this. But if you get through that part, you just fast forward, subtitles.
I don't care what the situation is. There's no excuse for messing around with little girls.
No, that's completely wrong. But I don't even want to talk. I just want to talk about the Epstein part, where now he's got all these co-conspirators, right?
Oh,
they've got all these co-conspirators.
There's a lot of money to be.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And it all comes down to the money, right?
Yeah. Well, of course.
It all comes down to the money. Of course.
What else would it come down to in that world?
That's it. Greedy little fuckers.
Yeah.
Greedy little fuckers. 100 million's not enough. I need 500 million.
Exactly.
So, listen, I will be happy with 100 million. And then I guess when you have 100 million, you probably want 500 million, and that's, humanity. I don't want 1 beer, I want 5 beers. After I've had 5 beers, I need 10 beers.
Right. It's the same principle. It goes to everything.
Jake, I'm telling you, watch it. We'll talk about it on one of these other ones, but my only comment about the whole Epstein thing is one thing. Bill Clinton, and have you heard of the Clinton body count?
Vaguely.
All right, research it. We'll talk about it next time. But basically, conspiracy theory that the Clintons are hitmen, and they've got the Clinton. They're dirty fuckers. That's what it comes down to. And so back to the story of the media reporting on COVID, reporting on riots, reporting on everything that's going wild. Guess what's happening in the background?
Yeah, what they're not reporting on.
Do you know that Hillary Clinton has to now testify before Congress?
I heard that.
They threw out her appeal.
Yeah, but hasn't been mentioned
at all.
I don't think I've seen that at all.
Zero. And apparently on Barack Obama's thing, they subpoenaed, I think, 30-some people out of the administration for, I don't even know what Obamagate is, but apparently there's some whole thing going on here, and I saw a post, so I don't even know if this is completely legitimate. So check your facts before saying, but I saw it, and I haven't followed up on it, but we'll talk about it. Long story short, something else is going on. And I also heard that China and India are at war. Like they are literally, China and India are having a battle over grounds, which is also not being discussed. I don't know if this is true or not. I'm going to follow up, but same thing. The rumors fly, and we'll see.
I'd be interested to see what they're fighting over.
Land and resources.
Yeah, but what resources are coming out of
fucking India?
Yeah.
We're gonna have to look at what India provides, but I don't think they're a big oil country. But I guarantee you they have minerals. They have to have. If I'm China, what do I want? I want metals.
Yeah.
And India is a big iron producer.
I'd be interested to see what they're actually really producing out there.
Yeah, we'll have to look into that.
Yeah, I want to look into that.
I'll get some information on why the fuck that would have been happening.
Yeah.
All right, so next, let's go into some other topics here. So we talked about COVID. We talked about our Epstein guys. We'll come back to Epstein because this is just out of control.
Yeah.
The Clinton body count. So with every president has some great conspiracy. Like
they all
of them.
Look, none of them are clean. They're all have done something. Everybody's got a past.
I mean, let's look at our last 3 presidents. So you've got Trump. So Trump, apparently everyone hates Trump and everything's dirty and he's this guy and whatever. He degrades women and he's this business guy. Okay, got it. Then you got, before him, you have Obama. Mm-hmm. Obama in the news, honestly, was portrayed as like God, like from my recollection, but I don't really pay attention to the news and whatever. I really don't know of any bad conspiracy. Oh, besides his birth certificate thing.
His birth certificate thing, that he wasn't from this country.
Right, so there was that.
And I mean, is that, like, out of all of them that they've come out with all the bad stuff they said, that's probably the least.
Yes.
Like, oh, so you weren't born here. And? Like, that's what you're going to get.
So, and then you've got Bush, which, the whole 9/11 thing.
Mr. Einstein himself.
Right. I like Bush though. He's just a good old boy. He's a good old boy.
He was fun to listen to.
Yes, he is.
He was fun to listen to.
He is.
He'd keep it light and comical.
Yeah, I would like to go to his ranch. And they own the Astros too. So the Bush family does. Houston Astros.
Well,
oil money.
Exactly.
And then before that, you've got Clinton, right? So Clinton, of course, the Lewinsky situation. And before Clinton was what? Reagan? Who was? See, I don't even know.
Clinton.
Hey, who was president before Bill Clinton? Oh, the other Bush. Bush's dad.
It was Bush's senior.
Bush senior, and before Bush senior, it was Reagan.
Yes, that's what it was.
Okay. All before my time. I was a little kid. I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't.
Every single one of them has something dirty on them.
They all do.
Yeah.
You don't get to a position of power without having some dirt on you, or without having dirt on other people.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
It's impossible. You can't go into the whole thing at that level and be 100% clean and not have anything on anybody else. It just will not work. It can't. The sooner that everyone accepts that fact, I think a lot better everyone will be about it. But
I mean, could you imagine if we had a country where people were honest and there was integrity and they actually did things for the people versus their own personal interests?
Yeah, but then the problem is that they wouldn't make a bunch of money.
Which is all fake and created anyway.
Right, but it goes against everything that they stand for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, you know what happens, people eventually evolve, thinking evolves, there's new epiphanies, there's new evolutions of everything.
Yeah, but that's why and another factor that I've heard is that's why we are given the freedom we're given. So that way you kind of, we're given all this freedom, so if he's kind of, we still get to do what we want to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it could be worse. Yeah. They could come out and tell everyone this is what we've done, but guess what? Now they're telling you what to do. Right? So it's a slippery slope when you kind of look at it that way. I don't know.
Yeah, well, let's talk about something else. Politics are stupid, and we only get the headlines. That's the thing. We think we know, but we don't know shit.
No,
we don't know shit.
No.
Above our pay grade, we are not in charge of anything. And listen, these guys are worried about dominating countries.
Yeah. My biggest concern is how to keep my beer cold and get more ammo.
Yeah. Did you bring your ammo by chance?
I didn't bring it, but we can talk about it.
Well, we'll basically, we can do a whole nother topic on that, but I would love to talk about just, the different grains, the different hardnesses of the metal, why things are cheap, why things are better, et cetera, et cetera. I'm a guy that, hey, I have a gun, I want a gun, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Nothing really to it besides I want to have one, I want to go shoot, I want to do some skeet shooting. Do I know all the details behind why I need a 350 grain versus a 450 or what? I don't know.
When it comes to that stuff, it all depends on what you're doing with it.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So
the right tool for the right job.
Exactly. Now, heavier grain rounds, obviously the bullet itself weighs more.
That's what it is. The grain of the bullet itself.
The grain of the bullet itself, right?
So is it a harder metal?
No, it's heavier. Say like my 45, my pistol. I have 230 grain, I think they're 230 grain full metal jackets. And then I have...
What is a full metal jacket?
What a full metal jacket is, it's a solid round, right? It is a, how do I explain? It's a full piece of...
So it's not two pieces, bullet. It's not a bullet and a casing?
Well, yeah, they're all bullets and casing, but opposed to, say, a hollow point that will travel up and then come back down and into pieces.
Okay, so full metal jacket it's a full piece of metal.
Right, exactly. So what happens is those tend to be heavier loads than your hollow points or your hydro shocks, right? Okay. Now, what will happen is the reason for that is because a full metal jacket you get a better distance on a full metal jacket because you have a higher grain load.
Yeah.
Right? But depending on what you're doing, say for your house, you want a hollow point, which is going to come out at a higher velocity because it's lighter, but it's not going to travel as far because it's less of a grain.
Right.
It's not as heavy. So my full metal jackets for my 45, I think, are 230 grain, where my hollow points, I think, are 175 or 180 grain. Right? Okay. So what that means is it is going to come out at a higher velocity, but it's not going to go through this person and through a wall and travel to the neighbor's house.
So with the velocity, I've also been reading and learning that you can have subsonic and supersonic.
Yes. Now that's when you start getting into suppressors and all of that goodness.
Well, which is why I've been looking at it, because I want to order. So we're going to do an episode where we actually go out and take a little decibel meter and do some debunking. The only guys that have done this is really the Demolition Ranch, but they've never actually, they didn't show the technicalities of like...
No, they just
did it. So we're going to take it a little step farther. And by the way, you guys are awesome. Keep blowing shit up.
Yeah, please.
Yes, please.
Love you guys.
You guys are in Texas, Central Texas. I don't know where. A-okay. I would love to go down there, and they do some cool shit.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do. So good job. But anyways, the point is, I would love to actually see the difference like in the sound situation, because it's very difficult to... I guess portray on the web,
Well, that was one of the big contributing factors to the suppressor movement here in California. Was when you go to the range, you have to have all your gear on, right? Well, if you are allowed to shoot with a suppressor with subsonic rounds, technically it's not that dangerous for your hearing.
Yeah. Which it's much more pleasurable.
Exactly, but I mean, I get why everyone was like, I give you an A for effort, but no, sorry.
Well, they have. I sent you the website link, right? They're now selling, the Maglite cans,
right?
And then, so there's two different ones. So I sent you the two website. One from the Prepper's website, right? Which was just the can. You just buy it. It sends to you. Then they had the other website, but apparently it is a cleaning device.
Yeah.
I don't know the full technicalities. I asked my buddy Rob in Michigan. He's got his suppressor license and all these things. And apparently it's like a separate license you get that only takes like 10 to 15 days to get stamped.
Yeah.
And you can turn it into a suppressor. So there's a lot of it's a bunch of like
it's
political paperwork crap. I don't even know.
It's pretty much the difference between buying a fully milled out lower receiver for an AR opposed to buying 80% that you have to do some work to.
A technicality.
Yes, exactly. I mean, we all know what it is, but technically, when it's an 80% lower, you're buying a paperweight that is in the shape of a lower receiver. You know what I mean?
So my friend Rob said that part of these websites are actually stings.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure they are. So and I think I sent you a video.
Yeah, the jail time.
Yeah, where the guy was like, "Oh, I ordered this, and now I got a letter in the mail," and so it's one of those situations where I don't see why.
Listen, we like being fully legal. We love the federal government. I think that you guys do a great job on 90% of things. You got a 10% error rate in there, and maybe, here's the situation. First of all, have you ever heard of any murder case happening where a guy actually came in with a suppressor and knocked him out?
No. Look, first off, this is not the movies where you come in and this thing's a whisper in your ear that you don't hear from the next room. Even a suppressed round.
It makes a noise.
Still makes a good amount of noise. It's not that it's all of a sudden this little...
It sounds more like a nail gun.
Yeah, but there's still a noise there.
Yes.
Where we've watched too many Hollywood movies where we think that I could be sitting 10 feet away from someone, or my favorite is where they're walking in the mall and you have people in a full-blown gunfight with suppressors and nobody knows that this is going on. And they're walking through shooting at each other and no one has any clue. That's not the way that these things work.
Well, so maybe if we don't buy the stuff online, because I don't even want to go down that route and be potentially in trouble.
Yeah,
maybe we can find somebody with a suppressor license that has a few that can come with us. And that would actually be probably the smarter way to do it.
I think that's the genius way of doing it.
Yeah, you'd be like, listen, we got to go up to a sharpshooter. I guarantee one of those guys has it.
I guarantee it. There's no way.
And we could probably even do it at the gun range if we don't need to go out to, I want to go out to the desert, but...
And then it also depends on the caliber that you're shooting.
Caliber and back to your grain thing, like are there subsonic, supersonic?
Subsonics are lighter loads.
Yeah.
And a lot of times the suppressed rounds, the ones that you're going to get the best results out of are your smaller calibers.
Yeah.
Like that movie No Country for Old Men. I'm sorry, but you are not suppressing a 12 gauge shotgun to where the guy next to you is not going to hear it. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry, right? You're not going to do it. Now, if you want to suppress a 22 or a 25 or a 9 or maybe even a 380, okay, I'll buy all that. But once you start getting into, like a 45, a 50, a 308, a 7.62 by 51, or your 7.62 by 39, it's going to make it less than what it is, but it is still going to be a loud experience there. You know what I mean? People are still going to hear it.
The decibel meter will tell us.
Yes.
It's going to, and that's, I think, I'll plan that out, but we're going to do that.
Right.
We're going to show the actual decibel differences of
and
what
again,
this really
we
means.
are not SEAL Team 6 or Delta Force that is getting the most amazing suppressors ever made.
I just think it's kind of cool.
Oh, yeah, no, they're great. I mean, they're great. A lot of people love hunting with them.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
My friend.
Because you don't scare everything off in the area if a bad shot takes place, or when you do take that animal, you don't have everything go screaming out of the area and not want to come back.
Yep.
So there are plenty of benefits to it. But, everyone's worried that all of a sudden you're going to come in with this fully automatic and no one's going to hear it, and you're going to be able to shoot 100 rounds, and it's just going to be a fart in the wind.
And that really comes back to the pissing in the wind part, where the people that are so worried about this have never looked at, like, the guys that are committing crimes. They're not committing crimes with this stuff. They're committing crimes on stupidity nonstop.
None of them are pre-thinking the whole situation.
And I guarantee you, the guy that has gone through the record checks and done all this, if he really wanted to knock someone out, you'd probably never know.
Well, and the other thing is, you're not going to use a high caliber round. You're going to use something smaller where you could shoot the guy in the toe and it's going to come out his ear. And it's just going to bounce around into everything in there.
And that goes back to, I like that term, pissing in the wind, because that's exactly what's going on. Like, everyone's like trying to make all these rules about this, this, and this, and because something happened and it has nothing to do,
they've watched too many movies.
They've watched too many movies. They know nothing.
Stop watching all these movies and thinking that that's actually really what it is. How about you go out there
and do it yourself?
Pick one up and you make judgment call yourself.
Cool. Let me check on this and let me see what's going on here.